Live from Storm Track 8, this is a WISH TV weather alert.
Happy Friday, everybody. Our Friday off to a very wintry start. Unfortunately, more wintry weather on the way before things finally start to clear back out. We're tracking the snow for you. I'll let you know what'll push out coming up.
Also, we're looking at that transition, which should help out on roads, but we are looking at our fair share of accidents still heading into the afternoon. I'll have updates on that coming up.
Plus, we have team coverage from the field. Our Tim McNicholas is watching the road conditions live for you in our mobile storm tracker, and our Brenna Donnelly is live downtown with more on how the weather is affecting pedestrians. Their live reports in just minutes. Good morning and thanks for joining us today. I'm Nina Criscolo here at WISH TV. We are in weather alert mode. If you have not been outside recently, the early morning freezing rain turned to sleet. Now it's starting to snow in some areas. This is the definition of wintry mix. Storm Track 8 meteorologist Brad Moushart has been keeping an eye on this for us since 4 o'clock this morning and has your first forecast now.
We've been dealing with a little bit of everything, as you mentioned, out there today. And on top of all that, it is just frigid cold. We're up to 29 degrees, superseding that 28 high just by a degree or so. But look at the feels like temperature. It doesn't matter. 15 is what it feels like outside, near single digits here off to the west as that west wind howls in. It's pushing the snow our way. We've caught a nice little lull here on the southeast side of town. Muncie seeing a little bit of light flurries, but most of Madison County. Back here through the metro and on down towards Bloomington. A little break for now, but you can see that's starting to fill back in towards Lawrence and up there towards Monroe counties where travel advisories already in place. The University of Mississippi closed today for snowfall, but Purdue, they're not giving up. Look at them trudging through the snow and ice out there today. A lot of heavy snow stretching all the way back here from Howard County through Tipton County, on down through Boone County and on towards Putnam County. You can see some isolated heavier amounts through this dark blue band here setting up here all the way back down to Vincennes. If you're in that area, you see some snowfall, send me a picture. I'll share it here coming up on the before the show's over. Downtown, like I said, still pretty snow free, at least for the time being, but look how windy it is. That's a speedway cam. A little bit of snowflakes here and there, but overall, roads appear pretty nice. It's not going to last very long. We'll see that next round of snow coming in at least another 2 inches in most spots before we're all said and done, and north wind sustained at 23 miles per hour. So brutal cold out there, a lot of snow. Winter weather advisory remains in place until 10 o'clock tonight. A winter storm warning here off to the south. Higher snowfall totals. Even a flash flood warning, it looks like, popping up down here just outside of the area. Maybe Jackson County near Skidmore. We'll check on that here in just a second. And on a wider view, look at all the moisture surging northward. That's clashing with the colder air, and that's why we're seeing the wintry weather that we are today across Indiana. Luckily, by later on tonight, we'll start to clear back out. We'll start to lose all that snowfall as we work way towards the later evening hours, about 9, 10 o'clock. But look at the temperatures. Very, very cold outside. That's just going to be a little taste of what we have in store for this weekend and next week. We'll have more on that and your full forecast in about 10 minutes. But along with wintry weather, of course, we typically have some dismal road conditions. Stephanie's been keeping a track on that all day. What are we dealing with now?
You bet, Brad. We are looking at where you were mentioning that heavier band of snow setting up on the northwest side. You notice here pretty limited visibility along I-65 and I-865 on the northwest side. So if you are heading out and about where we are seeing that heavier band of snow set up, you are going to be dealing with that limited visibility as you are heading out the door. So keep that in mind. And you notice that traffic in that location is moving a touch slower than normal as well. This is along I-65 and I-465. We've had this accident since around, say, the end of daybreak, so around 9:30 or so, where we had this jackknife semi still in the process of being cleaned up and causing maybe some minor issues for folks heading out and about. It is still currently closed, but we do have closures near I-65 heading southbound because of a totally different accident. This involved a motorcycle a little bit earlier this morning, so it is closed from about 71st Street, that exit, to about, say, I-65 and I-465. So if you are heading out and about in this general vicinity, you are going to be dealing with a bit of some closures here. If you are heading along I-65 heading southbound, I'll have detours on that and also provide you with some more drive times throughout the midday news.
Okay, Stephanie, thank you for that. Our team coverage extends to the field now. As Stephanie said, roads have been slick all morning. 24-hour News 8's Tim McNicholas joins us live from our mobile news tracker. Tim, where are you right now?
We're on the northwest side at the moment on 465. We actually just passed that jackknife semi. It looked like traffic was moving along okay. That's really the only issue that we've seen. Let me flip the camera around here so you can see what we're looking at. You can see the roads are pretty slushy at this point. The good news is that people are driving carefully. There's really not a whole lot of people on the roads at all, which is good. You know, the experts are saying that if you don't have to drive in this, then you shouldn't. But you can see we're seeing some precipitation at the moment. Earlier in our drive, we didn't see much of this, but you could see the snow coming down. the consistency seems to be a little bit closer to snow flurries. Earlier was more like a sleet, closer to rain, but now as we're heading north, we're seeing more and more snow. INDOT saying there's about 120 trucks in the metro area alone. They're primarily salting the roads, but they're saying as the weather gets colder, as the temperatures continue to drop, that salt's not going to do a whole lot of good when there's just ice out here. So really, the advice from them is to just be careful, drive slow, and don't drive at all if you don't have to. They are going to be plowing later on as we see some more snow. They're hoping that the salt will help with that process and make it easier to plow. One thing you're going to want to keep in mind is that the winds will be picking up too later on. So especially if you're in a rural area, you might see some blowing and drifting. You want to be very careful out here on the roadways. IMPD sent me an email around 9:30 this morning. Their public information officer, Chris Wilburn, he told me that they've responded to more than 15 accidents this morning alone. INDOT tells me, Indiana State Police, they tell me that they have responded to accidents this morning, but they haven't seen any accidents with serious injuries. So that was from Sergeant John Perrine with the state police. So there's some good news there. Really seems like people are kind of heeding that advice and driving very carefully. And if they don't have to, they're not driving at all. So that's for the best for everybody.
I agree, Tim. Thanks for that report. We appreciate having those eyes out there on the roads. Of course, slick conditions around the state, especially to the west and south. This crash on I-70 in Putnam County near the Cloverdale exit. State police there report 10 slide-offs. No serious injuries, though. Another crash, this one on I-65 northbound in Jackson County, about 5 miles north of Seymour. Northbound lanes very slow at this time. And in Gibson County, a semi-fire on I-69 just south of the Oakland City exit. Just one lane of southbound I-69 open at this time. And in the case you are heading out, temperatures right now are below freezing and the sidewalks are really slick. 24-Hour News 8's Brenna Donnelly joins us live from downtown Indianapolis with more. Good morning, Brenna.
Good morning, Nina. It's certainly icy out here. Now, if you do have the day off or your kids do, it might be a good one to tuck inside, watch the movie Frozen if you enjoy that kind of irony. If you are heading out, the sidewalks are slick, the roads are slick, the cars are icy. You can see on this one right here, ice all the way down, and it's been parked outside. This looks like those aren't going to open. These are door handles that are ice shut. You can also see some windshield wipers over here with some ice along them. Now, what do? Of course, you can break it off with your hands. That'll damage the rubber. If you can, use a rag to clean off your windshield wipers to preserve that rubber. If you're stuck and you can't get inside your car because it's frozen, you can push on the door. Sometimes that can break the ice. You can chip away at the handle, or you can pour some room temperature water. I'm going to say this once, room temperature water. If you use hot water, boiling water, or even a hairdryer with an extension cord, you could really damage your vehicle. So be safe as you just try to get in your car if you're going out. Now, if you're on the roads, you can see it right here. This is all kind of slush. It's like walking on a snow cone. The sidewalks are about the same. You can see it doesn't want to pick up very well, but when it does, it's this little kind of snow cone, powdery, icy. It keeps changing consistency as the day goes on. It's not good to walk on. You see grass here is also going to hold its support. It is completely iced down. I can break it with my hand. It is definitely a safe day to be inside, a dangerous day to be outside. As the temperatures continue to fluctuate throughout the day, we could see more ice, we could see more of this slush developing. So whatever you end up doing, be sure that you're safe. Be sure you check the forecast and the radars to make sure that you know where you're headed and where the temperature and conditions are as you go. But for now, reporting live downtown, Brenna Donnelly, 24-Hour News 8. Nina, back to you.
Okay, Brenna, yeah, just a little slippery and crunchy out there altogether. Good to stay inside. The weather this morning prompted the closure of hundreds of schools in central Indiana. At last check, we have more than 400 closures reported on our website, from daycares to high schools, even higher education institutions. UIndy is closed for the day. Butler is operating on a 2-hour delay, so it opened about a half hour ago. However, Burris Lab School, which is on campus, is closed. Other schools like IU and Bloomington, however, are staying open. IU Bloomington tweeted this video at 9:15 this morning saying, quote, "Excellence doesn't take a day off. We see you, Hoosiers. Glory of cold IU." The Indiana Department of Homeland Security is advising people to stay off the roads, though, if you can. If you're looking at the current travel advisories right here on your screen, You can see the yellow and orange. Most of the state is under an alert of some sort. Counties colored in yellow are under an advisory, which means some areas might be bad, but you should be okay if you're careful on the roads. Counties that are orange are under a watch, meaning conditions are, quote, threatening to your safety. So if you live in Hamilton or Johnson counties, for example, Homeland Security is asking you to go under necessary travel only. That's work and emergencies. So far, we have just one county under a warning, which is when travel is restricted to emergency personnel only. That is Gibson County. We will keep you posted on any changes. And if you do have to leave, download the Storm Track 8 weather app. The app will keep you ahead of this winter weather with a live interactive radar and hour-by-hour forecast. It's free on the Google Play and Apple iTunes stores. Some power outages to tell you about. Nothing major. You see pretty small numbers on your screen right now. In Indianapolis, 66 IPL customers are without power in 3 separate incidents. On the south side, 42 people are out of power in the area of English and Arlington Avenues. Their power is expected to be restored by about 3 o'clock this afternoon. In the area of 46th Street and Keystone, 13 people are affected there. Then east of that, near Arlington Avenue, 11 more customers are in the dark. Fortunately, the sun's up at this point. Service in those areas is expected to be resumed by about 1:15 today. Duke Energy has 31 clients without power on the northeast side, south of 106th Street and I-69 in Fishers. That issue should be resolved soon. Stay with us at midday. Still ahead, an update at a crash on I-65 southbound involving a jackknife semi. Our Stephanie Mead will have the latest.
Looks like at least they got a little bit of work done on that accident. And more snow, though, is on the way. We're tracking that snowfall for you. I'll let you know how much of it we'll see. And I'll let you know when we'll see our next chance for some snowfall as well. January coming in hot. I'll have details coming up.
24-Hour News 8 continues to follow the current road conditions for you. Roads have been slick all morning, and with more snow coming, they could get even worse. 24-Hour News 8's Tim McNicholas joins us live from the mobile news tracker. Tim, where are you now?
Nina, we're on 465 East, right by the Allisonville Road exit. I'm going to flip the camera around here so you can see what we're looking at. The roads at the moment actually not too bad. Back a ways earlier in our drive, we saw a lot more slush on the roads. That doesn't mean that the INDOT trucks aren't working. We just saw a couple of trucks pass us, a couple plow trucks, and INDOT tells me there's 120 trucks out in the metro area alone. They're salting, they're getting the slush out of the roads. People are driving pretty carefully. We did see a car getting towed that looked like he had some damage to it off to our right. And then, of course, we saw that jackknife semi at 65 and 465, which has caused some problems this morning. But for the most part, people are driving pretty carefully, and they're going to want to stay careful throughout the day as these temperatures drop and the roads get icy. And then, of course, later on with the snow coming down and the blowing and drifting, some people are going to want to be careful on the roadways. So we'll send it back to you for now, Nina.
Okay, Tim, we appreciate that. Of course, Brad, Stephanie, you guys have been all over this all day today, since 4 a.m., watching the roads, watching the weather.
Long day.
Yeah, I know. And really, it did get bad out there.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I left the INDOT headquarters this morning, and it was very slippery in the parking lot, on the sidewalks, on the roads.
Yeah. I mean, we came in early this morning, just a little after midnight, 1 o'clock. It was just rain. And within about 1 to 2 hours after that, right around 3 o'clock is where everything just started freezing up. And
it went down here really quick. Sorry, I can't get my words out since we've been up since about midnight. Yeah, but yeah, it just went downhill very quickly. Luckily, we were able to kind of get that information out to folks, but it looks like we're seeing improvement on the road.
And that recipe, having the rain come before this, we just couldn't pre-treat like we normally would like to see.
Exactly.
Right?
We're not out of the woods just yet. We have more wintry precipitation sliding on in. Here's what they saw earlier this morning over in Speedway. Peggy sent us this picture. A little bird there enjoying the little mix of ice and sleet that we saw out on the west side of town. You can see the road here, though. That's not snow. We still have that coming in now here on the west side of town. And if you enjoyed those upper 50s we saw yesterday, 57 degrees at this time yesterday, we're now down to 29 degrees, almost a 30-degree difference. But it even feels colder than that when you start to factor in the wind chill. So definitely a much more wintry winter-like day outside right now. We caught a little bit of a lull, a little dry slot snuck into the precipitation here, but you can see that's starting to fill back in our southwesternmost communities. Pretty intense snow band setting up here from northeast to southwest, stretching all the way almost from Allen County all the way through Howard, Tipton counties, Tipton itself back down towards almost Lebanon, southeastern corner of Boone County there near Zionsville, and then on down towards Hendricks County and point southward. Up in Muncie, where temperatures have been above freezing for most of the morning, you can see it doesn't look too wintry here. This is ice, though, here frozen to the lens just a bit. Luckily, down at ground level, things seem to be a little bit better. They're at 31 degrees. Snow on the way, though, to that direction. They just haven't seen a whole lot of it just yet. They're catching a little bit of luck here. This next snow band is going to be sliding that way. Off to the south, Bloomington down to Bedford, things filling back in as well. You can see most of this on the ground. This is not snow, that is sleet and ice that has been frozen here on the sidewalks. Luckily, now that the things have frozen up a bit and temperatures are just in that kind of magic number between 20 to 32 or so, that salt really works well at those levels. The bad news is tonight, with a lot of that liquid still on the ground, if this doesn't dry up through the overnight, this could refreeze because we're going to see temperatures down south and just about statewide dropping back down into the lower teens. So that's something we'll have to keep an eye on as we work way through the night tonight. Snow, of course, coming down now, or at least starting to, but sleet was what we saw most of the reports of this morning, especially over towards the Eminence area. Almost an inch of sleet just by itself. Over at the International Airport, lesser totals there. Just some light icing taking place over at the International Airport. So again, a lot of snow to go. This storm system itself, with temperatures still below the freezing point, it's going to remain frozen from here on out. We're not going to see any more of a mix. It's just going to be the snowfall from north off to the south. And then you take a really wide picture of this. I'll zoom out just a bit here in a minute, and we'll show you that really stretches all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. That's the moisture this storm is feeding off of, and with it coming the gusty winds too over in Speedway. Downtown, a few flurries flying, but for the most part, still pretty dry here until that next band of snow comes in. North wind to 23 miles per hour makes it feel like just 15 degrees outside. It's not going to get much better throughout the rest of the day. In fact, 28 degrees, 29 or so. We're going to hang around that number through the rest of the afternoon, dropping off sharply once the sun sets. And until we get rid of the snow, I think most areas are going to see here, at least in the metro, up to Muncie, back to Terre Haute, right around the 2-inch mark. A little bit more as you work your way on down towards the river, where more moisture will be in place later on tonight. Now, the good news is later tonight, we finally will get all this wintry precipitation out of here. We're just going to have a few flurries lingering around for Saturday, but it's going to be cold this weekend. 22 degrees Saturday, 23 Sunday, some very chilly morning lows as well both days. Unfortunately, we'll warm up a bit by Monday. Unfortunately, that's going to come with our next chance for some wintry precipitation. A likely chance of snow. Likely it's going to accumulate as well, but we'll have to hammer out those totals as we work way throughout the weekend. Here's what we're expecting for the full 8-day forecast. The second half looks much better than the first half here. Freezing rain to snow, that's what we're expecting again throughout the rest of the day today, and we're seeing the snow transition now. 22 degrees Saturday, and overnight low into Sunday morning of just 5 degrees. Below zero wind chills all weekend long, at least through the morning hours. Sunday will start to warm up a little bit, 23 degrees. We'll get back to 31 Monday with that next chance for snow into Martin Luther King Jr. Day, 31 degrees briefly. But look at Tuesday morning, even colder. We're all the way down to 1 below zero. We're only going to warm up to 8 degrees Tuesday. Very cold start to the week, very wintry start to the week, but things do improve. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, more sunshine, warmer temperatures. We're all the way back to a nice thawing 38 degrees by the time we round out this time next week. Now, roads still a little bit messy out there, and of course with that next round of snow coming in, that's going to create some new problems.
Yeah, and also limited visibility. You were showing us that band setting up, and that's headed directly towards the metro area. And right now, we are monitoring that jackknife semi along I-65 and I-465 near that northwest ramp location. We're not dealing with a lot of traffic, at least being affected by this. It doesn't seem like we're seeing much in the way of many folks on the road, so that's good they're heeding our warning. But if you do happen to use this heading into the city, currently it is showing that it is closed off at this point in time. So you're going to have to find an additional route to get into the city. If I-65 heading southbound is what you usually use. We're going to head back down towards the south side. It has since cleared since walking over here off of US 31 and Southport Road. Was causing an inconvenience. We still have to deal with decongestion with this. If you are heading northbound along US 31 near the Southport Road area, you'll probably run into a minor delay or two. Let's take this back out, look at a bigger picture here. Brad was mentioning this band of snow along I-65, I-74. This is near, say, the Brownsburg area, just a little bit south of Lebanon. You're dealing with probably limited visibility with this, and you can see kind of here, if you look close enough, along I-65 and State Road 267, that it is a little bit hazy. That is the snow falling. Some of them could be potentially bigger flakes as well, so be sure to take it possibly a little bit slower. It looks like traffic at least is doing that right now, not moving nearly as fast as what they would usually drive, but nothing at a crawling pace by any means. So let's take a look at our Zionsville drive times. We have I-65 from Zionsville Whitestown to Indy, 16 minutes for you. Zionsville Road from Main Street, 67 2nd Street, 13 minutes. And then Michigan Road from Zionsville to I-65 at a 22-minute drive. We'll be right back after the break.